Approach is now live.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the R.A.W Approach. I am Dr. Woods, and we have a fantastic show, a little different, but I think it's very much needed. First of all, remember, when you out there, hit the like button, share button. You go to the R.A.W Approach on YouTube. We on all social media. Like, and share. I can't tell you that enough, so your friends can know about you. All right. So today we got the Batey Siblings, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff in this house on today. So we want you all to sit back, enjoy, and we about to go live. I'm about to bring everybody on. Here we go. Get ready. A lot of them. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
Hello.
Doing all right. How about yourself?
All good, man. It's good to see each and every one of you, man, just to sit back and reflect on where, I met most of y'all in the summer camp years ago. Years ago. I know Paula Raymon was like, I better remember you.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It's all good. But I'm going to let each and every one of you have your stage, introduce yourself to the people. And then after that, man, we're going to dive on into this show and we're going to get to moving. All right. So let's start with the oldest and go all the way down.
Oh, hey, good, everyone. My name is Gerald Batey. Currently in the military, captain in the military. Currently stationed at Buckley Space Force Base out here at Aurora, Colorado.
Oh, no snapping. Okay. My name is Germyah Batey. I am a TV news personality, and I work in Norfolk, Virginia, WVEC 13 News Now.
Oh. I'm Gernie Batey. I am a third-year medical student at Meharry Medical College here in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, me, Harry.
Hello, I'm Raymon. I'm a junior at Western Kentucky University, and my major is fashion merchandising.
Okay. Hey, I want to thank each and every one of y'all in this right here. Is that a new millennial type thing? Is that the favorite snapping? It's like applause.
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and just dive on into it, y'all. Me, I'm always big about the parents, and identify what you think for you was key factors that was instilled in you by your parents. And y'all can answer however you want to.
Well, brother, go ahead. Go ahead.
You the talker. So I'll say, at least for me, so being around all these ladies growing up, my dad really instilled in me was being my own man, and just figuring out my path. Like, you can't go around trying to please everybody else, which we had some discussions about when I was growing up. Like, that's one of the reasons, like, I wanted to play football, but I hated football because I thought my dad wanted me to. So yeah. From a young age, it was always instilled, like, be your own man, like, make your own decisions and be confident in the decisions you make. And it all worked out. And from there, it's pretty much worked out so far.
So it allows you to be on your own path.
Yep.
Good.
I would say, add on to what my brother said, he definitely taught us how to be our own individuals. Another thing is a very strong work ethic. I know at 16, I had my first job. We didn't have a lot of places. Our family, our mom and dad would allow us to go. It was either school, work, or home. And, of course, somebody in this group was hard-headed and, you find ways to still get out. But they definitely made sure that we knew how to balance work, and we were independent in the sense of understanding money and understanding that to really get far in this world, you have to have a strong work ethic. So that's something I feel like they instilled in all of us at a very young age.
For me, I guess I would say work ethic for sure from our dad. I would say also from our mom was more like, you know, how to really be a woman, being a woman that had a work ethic also, that went to work, took care of the family, doing our fashion show Saturday night so she could approve our Sunday outfits.
And that's one thing I know about Miss Monique. Miss Monique wasn't going to be out of context now. Wasn't going to be out of context.
Right. And I'm sure we all remember like cleaning on Saturdays, getting woke up out of our sleep to clean up if we forgot to wash any dishes or anything. So definitely learning how to take care of the house, take care of our education, and then also really giving us a foundation in our faith walk as well, too. I think we got from both of our parents, for sure.
That's good.
Yes. Following off of what my siblings said, I think all of those are very true. I just have like one more thing to add with, I believe our dad, he often would say, and I'm sure y'all know, police yourselves so the world doesn't have to police you. Because
Absolutely.
Let's just be real, the world be worlding, you know, and it can come at a young person very hard sometimes. So I think he always said that, not just to be saying it, but so that we could have that instilled in us, so that by the time we get to college, graduate.
Do you like it, or can you appreciate the?
Oh.
Well, I think he's going to say, can we appreciate all the things that daddy, mom instilled in us? And I will say out of all the parents, dad, we bumped head a lot. You know, I think we can all agree he was very hard on us because he loved us and he knew what was out here when we left the house. He knew how real. Go ahead, Mr. Woods, Dr. Woods.
Oh, hey! I appreciate y'all catching me. That's why I went ahead and put all that stuff out early, because I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi today. That was not gonna have the victory. That's why I put it out there. But one thing that I hear you all talk about is appreciating the old school way of being brought up. And from your dad and your mom, it was very stringent rules as to what went on in that house. And when you look back and reflect on that, do you find that at that time, because we all been kids at one time, and we'd be like, man, when I get up out of here, I'm gonna go do this. But do you find that upbringing is what put you in the place where you are now?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I can at least speak for myself. So yes, growing up in that house, yes, it was rough. But again, aside from that, it was the love, and it was just the atmosphere full of love. So looking back on it now, yes, I did not like it, but where I'm sitting at now, it was all done in love. And I mean, even if I haven't told him this, I compare him to like bald eagles. Like, I have an animal thing since I've grown up, but bald eagles, as they young are growing up, I believe it's the mother or the father, they'll drop rocks in the nest to encourage the younglings to go out and fly. And I mean,
like your
parents. What was that? Oh yeah, our parents.
No, you're right. It's to make you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. So I can at least say once I got out of the house, there wasn't really a situation I wasn't prepared for based on how we grew up.
Yeah, I think adding to
and I compare.
What were you saying, Dr. Woods? Oh, I might have paused again.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead, Germyah.
Okay.
I'm here. I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
switch over to another thing. So I'm getting about sick and tired of this thing, but it's doing some weird stuff today.
Uh-oh.
But Germyah, what were you saying
I was
earlier?
just gonna say, like, I think a lot of how we came up, again, it was very uncomfortable. I think when I got to college and I had that freedom, I definitely enjoyed that freedom. But then the saying that our parents instilled, what, police ourselves, became very true. Just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should. And there's a lot of things our parents taught us that I think I'll model even within my own homes if God allows me to experience marriage and family one day.
For me, following what my brother and my sister said, like, I think the rule.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Now, give me 1 second because I can't hear you all.
Must I say, Gernie, your hair looks very nice. I like it.
Oh, my hair's not out.
You look very studious.
It's cute.
My hair's not out, girl.
Brother, must I say, you're looking like daddy every day.
Y'all are ridiculous.
Technology is always fun.
It is.
Yeah. Well, as he gets loaded back in, I'm really upset you guys didn't even put a subtitle.
I didn't know we needed.
Let me ask y'all this, and I do apologize to everybody with what's going on. But nevertheless, where there's a will, there's a way.
Always.
We're gonna make it do what it do. Let me ask you all this: what made you choose your career path that you did go into?
Who wants to start with that one?
Y'all all have different.
Yeah, let's start from the youngest to the oldest. Go, Raymon.
Okay. So I'll give you like a little backstory. So it was senior year. Well, it was junior year. It was crunch time. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to choose? And senior year came and I was like, you know what? I've always been creative. I need to choose something creative. Like, I've always known how to sew. So I was like, why not go and learn more about that in my major? So that kind of crafted that. And then I was able to learn even more about how to sew properly and just more within the fashion industry. Some stuff I'm still learning and it's mind blowing, but yeah, I'll pass it on to Jern.
I set myself up because I was next. So I guess for me, going into the medical field, it was more so we grew up, like our background, our dad and my granddad we grew up kind of around the funeral home business. And I used to toil all through high school with contemplating wanting to do forensic pathology or being like a medical examiner. My favorite show in high school was Rizzoli and Isles. So you couldn't tell me I was not going to be a medical examiner. Or I used to read books during lunch. So as you can imagine, I had a lot of friends. I used to read books during lunch about this archaeologist overseas who would like discover like bodies. And he would take the skeletons and like use clay to restructure the body of the skeleton. And like he could tell who they were. And I used to get so like... That's cool. And I used to get really hung up about this one particular story in the book where it was a guy in America, I think, a scientist, and he was using clay, or it may have been overseas where he was using clay, and he could tell by a certain depression in the clavicle that the person had been like a mail carrier, and he could tell by the structure of their nose bridge that they were African American, and like the way that their pelvis was set, that they were a woman versus a man. And so, but back to connected to the funeral home business though, because I got to go back there. So with the funeral home business, my granddad and my dad were, well, our granddad and our dad were both in the funeral home business, and I really enjoy watching, like, we both know how Daddy was at Scales, and I don't know how to say the other one, Marshall Donna Combs.
You got it.
And then Pawpaw with his funeral home at Gamble Funeral Home. I used to just watch how they were in the community and watch how they, how the people really responded to them, how they would do things outside of the community. And so I really wanted to get into not the funeral home business, but pathology. But then eventually I realized that a lot of people were passing away from things that were preventable, like heart disease, diabetes, a lot of preventable things that they may not have had access to care for when it came to finances or just knowledge, or just a lot of our families in the country also, sometimes even just distance. And so I kind of wanted to eventually get on the other side of medicine, that we could probably, not necessarily like a doctor's playing God, but can kind of shorten that, the path to death so quickly. So kind of help preventing getting to what that devastation, because we've all been to funerals. We know what that feels like. We know what that financial burden is like, and how I could kind of step in and kind of learn how we can not only treat people, but also educate them on preventing those diseases and those ailments to families as well. Germyah?
Very interesting.
Right. I love skeletons. Everybody want one for Christmas?
Yes. I'm a journalist. I would say my path to news broadcasting was a little unique. Growing up, I've always had a passion for writing. And Mr. Woods, well, Dr. Woods, I will say, you used to, at the summer camp, remember we had our journal and we would have to write either current events. I remember that we would do that a lot. I kept a diary. I was just always writing as a kid, always trying to express myself. I was a big reader. I enjoyed books. It got to the point where my parents would take books away from me because books were like TV. So it's like, you can't punish me taking away television because I'm going to read a book and that's going to be entertaining. I remember my dad kind of, love you, Dad, taking it away because, like, you need to stop reading. So I've always been into stories and writing my own short stories and stuff like that. So when I was in college and kind of falling into my junior year, I didn't really necessarily at the point of my freshman year know, okay, I'm going to be a news reporter. I didn't know that, but I ended up joining my student media organization, Mox News. That's my start. I started writing and producing for our college broadcast station. And that just kind of helped me open the door into this love that I didn't realize I had. And news is fast paced. It's very, it's just a lot that goes into it. It's still storytelling, but under tighter deadlines. So I've always been a people person, always enjoyed writing, always enjoyed telling stories. So it kind of naturally just was a good fit for me. And so that's how I landed here.
Well, that's what's up. I appreciate that. Somebody posting on Facebook and they asked, so is she in the funeral home business? No, Anthony, she's not in the funeral home business. She's she's in medical school. So
I was inspired by the funeral home business.
Got her into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a funny story, I will say, we used to, I know it's where I always tell people this because they don't realize how close we were to that industry, funerals. We used to do our homework and visitation rooms. There would be bodies behind us. Oh, they're deceased. Just do your homework. Remember that, Gernie?
Yeah.
I would see my dad picking up bodies and put them in the casket. I would have nightmares to the point my mom would have a conversation with my dad, like, Gerald, why did you, it was a lot.
He picked us up from school in the hearse. I'll never forget that. He picked us up from school in the hearse. But yes, go ahead, brother.
Okay. All right. So, if I remember the question correctly, make sure I stay on track. It was how I got in the profession of the military.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually started. I want to say maybe my freshman year. Really is where like the road began getting laid. So, like my closest family growing up, like some of my cousins, other family like that, I remember sitting there watching them because they were all getting to that next jump from graduating high school and then taking their next steps. So I just remember sitting there, entering high school, sitting listening to them like, okay, one of my cousins was talking about, hey, I'm going to go to school in California. Another one was talking about going to school in New York. They all had these well laid out plans. And I just remember sitting there like where I was, wow, they got it all figured out. And I don't know what I want to do yet. So as I began progressing through high school and they all graduated, I don't think of the ones I'm thinking of, I'm not going to say their name. I don't think any of them went about that road immediately. They eventually got to it, but from high school, they didn't go about it. So I'm sitting there like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because, again, from what I've seen, it doesn't work out the way you think it is. And I remember I was talking about, I remember sitting down with my dad because at this point I was living with him. He was like, all right, what's your plan after high school? I was like, oh, I'm going to go to college and do a master's in mechanical engineering. I think I was still looking at mechanical engineering then. The schools I was looking at, I wanted to go to USC. Just one, it was far away from home. It was in California, and all I ever heard was nice things about California. So then he was like, all right, so how you going to do that? I was like, I don't know. So I remember going on the website, looking at the requirements, looking at the tuition, was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I definitely don't have USC money. And it was actually Mr. Meadows. My daddy put me in contact with him because he was deacon at our church. Sat me down with him, and I want to say this was around my junior year at this point. And they were talking about like plans after school. And then, my dad went to the military. He's like, if he talks to anybody, he's going to suggest the military just because, one, you get that discipline. They're going to take care of you. And then it's almost like you have time to figure some stuff out. So, Mr. Meadows, he was like, hey, I'm going to bring you into the recruiting station right there off of Bell. I think it was Bell Road in Antioch. And he was like, hey, if you score what I think you can score, I got a job for you. I was like, cool. So I went in, took the ASVAB, scored what I needed to score. And he was like, hey, you are going to take this job if you want to. It was a cryptologic linguist. And that's pretty much how I got started. And this was what? So I want to say I signed after taking the ASVAB. I want to say I signed my contract junior year. So my senior year was a breeze because I already knew I was my senior year. I already knew June 8th I was gone. And then since then, it's just been whatever I was arise.
Okay. Is that everybody on that issue?
Did we hear from Raymon?
Yeah.
Yeah, she started.
Yeah, I do want to jump in and say, I feel like I didn't make a clear bridge. I don't just be looking at skeletons. So I just wanted to because I felt like thinking while y'all were talking that I didn't make that clear. I just really loved science, but I'm not one of those weird people that just reading stuff.
No, it's too late now.
No, we lit up talking about it.
It's okay. No, I was reading because like I love science, and that's like the whole thing in high school. So I was like, you know what, maybe I could do a step further than Papa and Daddy and do like what you call a medical examiner. But then I was like, you know what, some of the things that's causing death is preventable. So I want to be on the side that's adding prevention. So I just want to
I love
add that in there.
Dr.
Queen,
I
we got
love
you.
that, baby. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just want to join. I just felt like, you know, it kind of
You're good.
didn't bridge the gap. So. All right, the gap is bridged.
All right. Okay.
She was really bothered.
Let me ask y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we all know that as young adults, there's a lot of things that goes on in our life, and there's stuff that you're going to be faced with. That's going to be obstacles. There's going to be challenges. How have you all handled that situation? Currently handle it, or how have you prepared yourself to handle obstacles and challenges that may come your way from different facets, from just living life, or from a work experience, a education experience? How does that work for you all, and how have you come through it?
Oh, I'll start since y'all. I'll say one thing that really helped me out is leaning on your network, because there's no challenge that someone else hasn't faced in some form or fashion. It may not be to the level or degree you're experiencing at that point, but the blueprint is probably laid somewhere within your community, and it's just leaning on those ties, gleaning from those experiences what you can apply to your own situation.
I would say in my career path, it's really easy to lose sight of your why and your own journey within the field, because it's very competitive. You can turn on any news station and see another news report and be like, wow, I love her look. Wow, I love the way she tells stories. It's constantly overcoming, looking at other people and being tunnel vision and your own journey. And so that's something I've really had to understand and hone in on. And then also just fighting the self-doubt. I have to constantly fight that every single day of why I'm not good enough, or like I like to say, when I get in front of that camera and the red light turns on, I naturally, you guys may not see it, but my heart is racing. So every day in the job, I'm kind of learning to push past how I'm feeling, my nerves, and fake it till you make it. So I'll be in front of the camera, literally internally feeling like a tornado, but on the outside looking like the eye of the storm. So, and then I have to think, I depend a lot on my family unit, my siblings. My mom and my dad just kind of helping me through some of those challenges, speaking life to me when I sometimes forget the journey and why I'm here. So I would say my family, also just trying to, stay focused in on my why and why I chose this path, and not letting the self-doubt win.
I would say for me,
Before you come in, if y'all have another, if your phones or another computer on, make sure that you only got one instrument on, because there's some feedback, and I just want to make sure everybody just got one instrument on, either the computer or the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, Gernie, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I would say for me, one of the things I had to kind of get comfortable with was the fact that going into med school, I didn't have a lot of people, really anybody around me that was a doctor, or anybody really in my family that was a MD that had gone through med school. and gone through that path. So I would say for anybody that's coming from like a minority group or being the first in their family to do something, get comfortable with having to kind of learn on your own and don't let it overwhelm you. I'll be honest, like a lot of stuff overwhelmed me in undergrad. Like I had to learn how to apply for med school on YouTube because I knew I wanted to go to med school, but I didn't know how to do it. So it's a lot of YouTube, a lot of Reddit, and sometimes those things can run your anxiety off the roof. And then sometimes I didn't always have an advisor that knew exactly what the path looked like specifically for me. So I would say a lot of self-education. If you know what your path, what you're trying to do, sometimes start that education on it early. That's one of the things I always wish I probably would have done, is been more serious about setting those foundations and learning the process. Because a lot of stuff was just like, I didn't know I had to do that. I didn't know about an MCAT. I didn't know about a primary application for med school, a secondary application for med school, and then getting into med school. I didn't know that you have units broken up by systems, and then if you don't pass this unit, they could hold you back and you have to repeat the whole year again. So it's just constant things that were just kind of throwing me for a loop that I had to constantly kind of relearn, learning how to study for a board exam, which I didn't know. I didn't have the money to pay for a tutor. So it's just getting comfortable with that, and it can be overwhelming. It can be challenging, but you can teach someone else, and more students coming into medical school now than I had coming in. So definitely learning that. And then outside of school, obstacle wise, one thing I tell students that are starting med school or trying to get on that path is life still happens while you're trying to pursue your career goals. So you can't control it. Family members pay, family members get sick, car notes needs to still get paid, rent needs to still get paid, even though I live at home with my parents, thank God. But life still happens, you know. So I always say you can't plan for them. There's no way to plan for them, but just kind of prepare yourself for the unexpected, you know. So I always tell people now, like, have that savings account that you're just putting away in while you're working your job that you don't think means a lot while you're in high school. Just be putting $20 away, starting your debit account, learning what a credit card is, learning what credit is, learning how to be disciplined with your student loan reimbursements, even in undergrad. Because you'll see some students buying BMWs, but you owe all that money back. So different things like that I wish I would have educated myself on, you know, learning how to budget, write it out, getting a spreadsheet early. And then also just planning for family things. Cause I know during COVID, while I was trying to apply for med school, my mom got sick. And I ended up not going to med school right out of undergrad. Well, yeah, right under undergrad. My mom got sick. I started working, ended up getting the opportunity that I forgot I applied for a master's. How you forget you apply for a master's, but I forgot I applied for a master's. So ended up being able to do that while being at home with my family. But I just tell people, kind of don't get so fixated on the plan, because I have that issue. I'm still learning not to be so fixated on a plan, because sometimes you get so fixated on what you like planned in your head, and the moment something kind of bomb rushes and doesn't go that way, it kind of throws somebody into something. So now I'm just like, I'll try to have a little bit of a plan, but now I'm kind of like, it could also go this way, it could also go this way, and try to, like, instead of trying to plan, just have my response prepared, because I don't know what the effect is or what's coming at me, but my response I can kind of control a bit more. So that would be my advice.
Well, I think that's very important, because one thing that I try to encourage young, old, and more so, and it's almost like everything that you all are talking about is the same information that a lot of us that's in our 50s and older, I know y'all thought I was still 35, but 50 and older, that we have to learn and self-teach ourselves, that we have to do exactly what you said. We have to learn how to control what we can control. And there's some things that we cannot control, and that puts us in a world spin. And but most importantly, I think that's very good information for any one of us, no matter the age limit, is control what you can control. Outside of that, I mean, your faith or the choice is in somebody else's answer. I mean, somebody else's hand. I mean, it's just like getting into medical school or getting into another school or an advanced school. I mean, all you can do is apply. After that, you can't worry about it. You just got to wait till they give you an answer, yay or nay. And then that's when you pivot. You continue to plan and go accordingly. So, yes, planning is still important. Planning is still important, Gernie. At the end of the day, planning is still important, but totally understand that sometimes even when you plan, things don't go your way, but you can't let that put you in the world spin. So I appreciate that. Anybody else got anything with that before we move on to the next topic? Okay. How do y'all, if you have been in a situation like this, how have you dealt with or navigated yourself in a situation of self-doubt?
Ooh, okay. That's a good one, because I'm currently navigating through it right now. So as a captain right now in the Army, there's a lot of situations that they just throw you into. You'll go to your schoolhouse and get like your standard training. So last year, I was down at Fort Huachuca in Arizona getting training on how to be what they call a tactical intelligence officer. So it's pretty much providing information about the battle space for commanders to make decisions, right? Once I got here, I didn't do anything revolved around that. So I'm in a whole new situation, and right now as a company commander, I'm managing about 102 personnel. Each person has their own issues, has their own wants and needs that I may not have all the answers to. So, and then again, you're always being evaluated no matter what you're doing. So it's like, are you making the right decision every other day? Did I make the right decision on X, Y, or Z when I gave this person a yay or a nay? And it's pretty much, hey, I take the information I have, I back it up against what we have, doctrine and regulations. And if I'm in the right zone, cool, I can doubt myself all that I want to. But as long as I know that I made the best decision that I could with the information I had, I just got to rock with it. And again, you don't get that feedback, that immediate feedback loop, but eventually someone come around and be like, hey, you did good on that. Or you even had some of my soldiers even came up to me and been like, hey, when you did this for me, I really appreciate it. I was sitting there, and then that whole time up until that point, I was like, I really hope they don't feel some type of way on the decision I made. But yeah, so I don't know, navigating self-doubt is something you always got to deal with. It's just being confident in the training you have or the background you have, and just making sure you're doing right by that individual yourself.
And to add to that, Gerald, just always know as a leader, and of course you already know, and what you talked about, I mean, that's a lonely position at times. And especially as you continue to go up those ladders, it becomes more and more lonely. And then, what you have to learn is, I'm going to make the best decision at this moment in time with the information that I have, according to the policies and procedures. And I always tell people, especially in my consulting and everything, you make the best decision at that time according to everything, and you stand on that, because that's the information you have. A lot of times we can all have, I call them Monday morning quarterbacks, where everybody, after everything is all said and done, and now you got all the facts, and the people are like, well, I would have done this, I would have done that. But when you at that point, you're making that critical decision at that moment in time, you can only make the decision according to the information that you have. So, I mean, it is what it is, but that comes with the position, you know what I'm saying?
And then another thing is, like, if you make a wrong decision, you got to stand in that too. Like, we have
stand in it. Yeah.
Yeah, we got policy changes that are going on right now. And based on the information I had, I did an erroneous flag on the shoulder. So it pretty much like halts any favorable action. Well, as more information came down and some stuff got clarified, I just pulled that guy in. I was like, hey, I'm going to remove this from you. That was my bad. We're going to make sure you get right. That way it doesn't have a negative effect on your career. So, again, you're going to make good decisions. You're going to make bad decisions. Even when you make those bad, own it up. Don't try. For me, I try not to sweep stuff under the rug. I try to let individuals know or be as forthcoming with them as they are with me, just to build that trust and camaraderie within my formation.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
I'll try to go. As you guys can probably guess, I'm the youngest, and my siblings are more established in their careers or studies. So this is more so for the people that are younger and still kind of figuring life out right now. Basically, self-doubt will come at you. It will throw everything at you multiple times. And you'll see people that might be, let's say, accelerating in a job or accelerating in the same exact major that you're in. And that's very hard to see. You often will question, like, did I choose the right thing? But continue to go and face that self-doubt. Be like, okay, why am I feeling like this? You know, kind of start like that. Why am I feeling like this? And not to ask yourself that negatively, but see what you can do to change your focus, not on them, but on your own path, because everybody's on their own path. I also have to say that I believe in Jesus, you know, and sometimes, let's just be real, we have an active enemy against us, and sometimes you just really have to pray in certain situations and say, you know what, I just really hope to be led. And I hope that's not going too off of, you know, anything, but that's just
you're good.
Okay, that's just kind of my perspective and what I've been just gaining and learning recently. So I hope that brings comfort to anyone that may be around the same age or entering or exiting high school, I mean.
And I always remember, and you know, especially being a spiritually focused young lady or young man, and as you go through life, and always remember, where there's new levels that you go to, there's going to be new devils, and you just got to prepare yourself for those challenges. And everybody don't want to see you succeed. Always be mindful. Everybody is not in your corner, but you got to continue to do what's best for you and not let that be a focus for you. Even when you in self-doubt, that's the word, self. Don't everybody don't need that. You need to know that you doubting yourself. It ain't nobody's business. You know what I'm saying? So you good, perfect. Anybody else before we move on to the next one?
I guess I can. So I was gonna say, it's a lot of self-doubt through this whole process of medicine, but I said especially during I just got done with my third year, which was clerkship year, where they send you to hospitals and you are just in the hospital, and you're probably the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to hierarchy in the hospital, and it can be very challenging at times and very intimidating at times, especially in rooms and wanting to speak up and scared if you should say anything and wondering. And I had a lot of times this past year where it was really just me in my car trying to talk myself up to walk into the hospital, because a lot of the hospitals don't look like Meharry, and that's the adjustment you have to make. But at the end of the day, I always had to just kind of remind myself to trust my learning, trust my education. No, I don't know this particular hospital system, but I know the diseases, I know the pathology. I may not know everything, but I know I can study my patient and at least know my patient. And so there would be some days where, you know, it would be some challenging days where you're kind of trying to find your voice in a room full of people who are their skill set is on a different level compared to yours. But I always just trusted that what I knew about my patient. That I know one thing our mentors used to tell us is that no one knows your patient like a medical student knows their patient. Because a student, a lot of people don't like those students in the room for them, but you usually want a medical student because we have to know you inside and out before we go talk about you. And it was a situation, because we always present to each other. It was a situation where my patient, they were getting ready to discharge him, and I didn't think he was ready to be discharged. Who am I to say that? And I really was like, I always have to think, if he gets discharged and then he comes back worse than what he left, that's going to be on you. So rather than you being scared to speak up in this moment, you're risking him leaving and he not be ready to leave the hospital. And so I did speak up to a resident on one of my patients' behalf, because I just didn't feel like he was ready to be discharged. And it wasn't met with any hostility. I was scared and nervous because you don't want to tell anybody they're wrong. But of course, they asked, well, if you're going to say that and that's your patient, tell me why your patient shouldn't leave this hospital. Tell me why I shouldn't discharge them. And of course, I probably said it with a shaky voice, but in my mind, I said it confidently. But I explained why I didn't think the patient should be discharged. And we did keep the patient. But they were like, you can't be nervous when you're speaking up for your patient, because what if we sent him home, which he didn't need to be sent home, but what if we sent him home and you knew this information and he could have deteriorated at home and no one knew. So they were like, yes, there can sometimes be intimidation in the hospital or even just self-conscious with yourself, but I think it kind of helps for me, especially with what I'm doing, that I'm speaking up for somebody else. And so I noticed that even though I was nervous, but throughout my third year, my voice got a little bit stronger. It still probably shakes sometimes, but it's a lot stronger than the way I started because I'm speaking up for someone. But if I could say anything to anyone, it's just, if you know what you're talking about, you know that you've read up on what you're talking about and you're speaking from a place of wisdom, then use your voice. But I'm not just saying to just speak freely about everything. But if you're speaking from a place of wisdom, I always say use your voice proudly and strong. And I'm still learning that. So.
Good stuff. I appreciate that. Let me ask you all this. Y'all all have different things that's going on in your life. You all have different career paths. How do you find a level of balance between work, life, school? What do you do for yourself?
Okay, I will.
And family.
Okay. I love this question a lot because I'm actively in the midst of all of this. My job gets a lot of my energy. My output, I would say, is on 1,000 and always turned on sometimes. So when I don't have to be turned on, it's very important for me to recenter myself. I like to do these. I was kind of going to refer back to the self-doubt here, is keep checkpoints of growth, of check-ins with myself, check-in with God, like just different things for me to find my peace in the midst of this chaos. We're seeing it in this economic climate we're in. We're seeing political climate we're in. A lot can weigh us down. You even hear, negative things as far as like the American dream and what was once pitched to our elders is not so much a reality for us. So you're fighting all that and it feels like you're spinning your wheels sometimes. So I think for me, I'm in a beautiful place, Hampton Roads, Virginia. If you've ever been, you should come this way. There's a lot of beaches. Sometimes I just like to go out there. I sit still. I journal. I just try to soak in the sun. And sometimes it looks like me turning off my phone and unplugging. I think we're all kind of overstimulated sometimes with social media. We're always taught to be plugged in. So especially in my career field, I like to unplug. I like to sit in silence. Sometimes that might look like mental health is real. Sometimes that looks like crying and praying. You know, I don't know, Lord, what you have instilled for me. There's certain things I want that I'm being told I can't get. So I think it's just being real with myself, being okay if whatever it looks like. Not caring about people's opinions or voices, just being real with myself at that moment. And lately, that's just been how I've been able to keep my head up, keep fighting another day. I love what Gernie said. Sometimes I have to sit in the car and work up the bravery to walk inside. That's real. Like I deal with that. Life be lifing. So that's something that in this career, trying to balance mental health, finances, and showing up as a professional, it can be difficult. So
I would say for
Thank you
me,
for that.
I would say for me, I'm probably still figuring out the work-life balance. I knew I wasn't about to say that I haven't figured out because my
Yeah, she still is.
But I would say I think med school probably got a good 95% of everything right now. It is hard to try to balance it out, but I think I'm making strides. I think I'm making strides. But one of the things that has helped is just getting more involved with things that are non-academic at school because I'm usually on campus. So doing I'm one of the student chaplains where I'm the chaplain of my class, but now I'm the chaplain. Like I work with the school chaplain or Reverend Hall at our school. And so we actually do praise and worship night. And we don't do them all the time, but it's like a good break just for the students. And you kind of get to sit back and kind of see we are all going through the same process right now, and just having like a balance of being able to have our faith walk show up just as much as our schoolwork and what we're doing every day. Because sometimes you kind of lose sight of God and you can kind of mess up and make school your God or trying to make your white coat your God. And it can kind of cause some trouble in your life it kind of sneaks up on you when you're just so work focused and you make that almost your idol at sometimes. So it's just nice having a balance of a group of people we can talk about God, talk about our faith, what we're struggling with. And I went from just sitting in the back of those praise and worship nights, and now sometimes I speak at them. And then also participating in choir, just doing something outside of the norm. And I've also joined book clubs, virtual book clubs that I love. And it's just a good time to kind of read a book that has nothing to do with science. They're fiction, horror, great. I'm not a weird person, but they're just great to kind of get outside of the norm. And I'm trying to do better. And I've started going to the gym. I'm going to try to keep that going too. But just, it is important to have a work-life balance, I think, in any career path.
Totally agree. What about you, Captain?
Now it's more of a struggle because I pretty much have to be on 24/7, right? Before, in my last job here, I could turn my phone off. I could disconnect from everything, but it's more difficult now just because I'm always on call. Like I've had 2 weekends so far that have been pretty much taken just because I had to deal with certain things. But it's finding those times where, hey, I can disconnect. So about 5:30, I'm up and off to the gym. That is my time to decompress and get ready for the day. I know I'm about to call somebody out in this chat. My phone calls with Germyah. She hates that I don't talk, but those are my little disconnect times. Because it's almost like it reminds me of being back in the same house. Like, even though we're not in the same space, it's like a good, all right, I can disconnect for a minute, even though she don't like my okays and yes. But yeah, it's more so finding times, at least putting it on my calendar to make sure I set those times. Like when that time comes up, like I've gotten back into rugby. So on Sunday and Thursdays, I try to go out, play a little pickup game.
I didn't know you played rugby.
What was that?
I said, I believe me, I was gonna get to that. I seen the picture that your dad sent me today, where you was playing rugby at West Point.
At West Point.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were you good?
I was decent. I was more scrappy than anything. But yeah, it's just it's finding those moments in time where I can unplug and make sure, like, hey, I'm taking care of me. And another component which I'm about to get into, matter of fact, our BH rep came by today, and I was like, hey, I need to start talking to somebody. Can you set me up with someone? And he was like, I got you. So I'm waiting for that email just to make sure, like, hey, as much as I'm putting out, I'm at least getting some back. So shameless plug for therapy.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. Let me ask y'all this. I know I don't want to get too much of y'all time. Y'all are big professionals. But what is the one advice that you, at your age, that you could share with youth today?
I'm gonna say, I feel like my one advice would just be to just try, because I think sometimes we get in our heads and we're like, oh, like I could never do that, I could never, or I'm not like that person. But just simply trying and just at least starting you don't know what it can bring. It can bring so many new and different things to your life. So I think that's my advice.
Thank you.
I think my biggest thing, working your news, I would say check your heart space. Always check on your neighbor. Have compassion. Have empathy. That job, you never know what your coworker is dealing with. You never know what your friend is dealing with. Always check in with people. I feel like we're losing touch with one another. We're so digital. Always have that compassion and empathy and discernment to know, hey, I need to reach out to so-and-so and just make sure they're okay. I think as I get older, that's my biggest thing, is just not losing that space of staying connected with those around me or those I interact with. People are always like, you're too nice, but sometimes that hello or having that small talk might actually make somebody's day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It don't cost to be kind.
I would say make sure
Anybody
you're
else?
doing. I would say just make sure you're doing something. Anything you do, make sure that you just love it. I used to tell Raymon all the time. She may remember, she may not. But I used to say, do something that doesn't feel like work every day. Because I think sometimes we choose things based on notoriety, the money, the attention we'll get, and the status we'll get. And you notice a lot of people that have the status and the notoriety, they're some of the unhappiest people that you've ever met. So one thing I tell somebody is, before you make a decision or before you make a career decision, that just choose something that you love, that you want to do. You can't live by you. I know a lot of people try to set out and finish a path that their parents started. And as great and as noble as that may be, don't run yourself dry trying to live out somebody else's dream. So make sure it's a path that you genuinely want to do, because that's going to be the only reason why you finish it. So do something that you really love, that you don't mind waking up in the morning to do every day, no matter how hard it is, because you just, that you want to do. So do something for yourself. I always say your career path can be the most selfish thing that you do. So.
I agree. What you got for the young folks, Gerald?
Oh man, Gernie kind of took mine. I was gonna say something along the same lines, like whatever you choose to do, make sure it's what you want to do. Like, you can't do it for mama, you can't do it for daddy, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be the one stuck in that situation, or you're the one putting yourself in that situation. Outside of that, don't be afraid. Like, what they like to say, Rome wasn't built in one day. Everywhere, and especially with social media and everything today, it seems like people are getting like everything instant. You don't know what that individual, what work they had to put in to get to the point they are. So, hey, stay on your path. Make sure, like, hey, your pace may not be my pace. Your pace may not be your brother, sister, somebody else. Run your race, stay in your lane, because it all pay off at the end.
All right, appreciate that. Before I wrap this up and close it out, I always like to ask my guests, is there anything that you would like to ask me, or is there anything you would like to ask one another?
Oh, I have a question. Since you knew us at such a young age, would you have seen all of us doing what we do now?
No. No. But in a positive way, though. In a positive way. You know, with everything that we talked about, even with, you know, as she talked about, as Germyah talked about, I had y'all doing different type of reading and writing during the summer program. It was I never asked, what is it that you wanted to do for a living as you got older? I sometimes think that become a lot of pressure because at that time, what were y'all, 9, 10 years old? Maybe 11. So I think that becomes a lot of pressure for kids. So that's something I don't ask. Now, is this something that, you volunteered? Then I'll be like, cool. But, we talk about this thing about life be lifing, as I was talking about. And when I talk with your dad a lot, I just do random check-ins and stuff like that. And to hear that, y'all doing well, and to hear Captain got children, I see the pictures and stuff. And it's just so funny reflecting on structure, how Gerald was totally against it. And now he's in a situation where he has to be a structured person with his job, number one. Then number two, he has a family now, which he still got to provide structure. And one thing that we as adults always like to hear or say to people that have kids is, I hope they child give them everything that they gave me. Mm-hmm. But all in a positive space, though. All in a positive space. So, I did not know, as we moved on in life, dealing with my kids, family, and everything, but to look back and watch all of you all doing your own path, watching you all finding your level of success. I think you gave great information. Do what is best for you. And that's what each and every one of you are doing. And what I really like is how you all reached back and provided more insight to the younger one. Just kept getting more and more insight and more insight. And to know that you all still have, as Gerald talked about, and I talked to your dad about it, y'all still have your own little group, your own little check-ins, your own little conversations, your own everything that's going on. Because when I was talking to Germyah, she said, well, let me get with the group. I'm going to get with the group and see what the group say and all that. I love that and respect that y'all still have that, even though y'all lives are in different cities, different states, different time zones, but you all still making it. And that's why I say, you know what, if Germyah can get everybody together and 5:30 was the time, and I know I told her 7, 8 o'clock, so Germyah just came up with her own thing, but I still was like, you know what, if they gonna do 5:30, I'm gonna make it happen one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all, and I want to tell each and every one of you all, hey, continue to do what you are doing. I know as a mentor, it makes me proud to see each and every one of you finding your level of success. Continue to understand that nothing comes without a struggle. That's the most important piece. But you all you engulfed it, you moving through it, and you continue to go to your next levels of life. And I just know as parents that Monique and Gerald Senior are sitting back looking just happy, man. I mean, just the whole village, man, just sit and to see a sibling group. This is type stuff that a lot of times you see on social media. The 4-5 kids and they all doing this and they all doing that. And I'm just proud of you all. I'm totally proud of you all. But I'm disappointed with Gerald in one spot. I think you wearing that black and gold now, Gerald.
Oh, I think you missed them.
No, but man, I mean that's good to see, man. I just want to continue to see y'all make your strides. I mean, you Germyah, to get up and take an opportunity in Virginia, and I think and y'all don't know, y'all teaching people my age and older, or even a little bit younger. You can't be scared to move. You can't be scared to go get that opportunity. And and that's what the old saying is: when opportunity knock, you knock down that damn door. You got to knock it down, and that's what you all are doing. And I'm so proud of you all, and I'm going to continue to do what you're doing. Appreciate that. It was a good question. Anything? Look at little Raymon just cheesing.
I will say.
Anything else?
I would say, Dr. Wood, Abundance Academy, so many memories, so many core memories from that camp. And I think what you all did, you and Miss Lisa, it was so original, so unique, because you guys exposed us to so many different things. Taekwondo, you did the writing, you took us to different activities. Those are memories that I still hold on to. Those experiences, African dancing, it's just a lot. And I appreciate you not just thinking of like your own kids, but other kids, and inviting us to show us we could do anything, literally just exposing us to that at such a young age. So you've always been that type of person to cultivate people, to love on people. And I think I'm so happy and proud to see this channel. I'm excited to see where this grows. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but I'm glad. You're like the best person to do this. So I just want to say thank you for giving us all this opportunity.
Hey, I appreciate you all. I thank you for the words of encouragement. But that is my thing, and this is why the whole company Raw Approach was created. In case you didn't know, the R.A.W. is named, the initials is from Ryan's initials that I use for the company. But at the end of the day, no matter whether it's dealing with young youth, people in the workplace, executive leaders, everybody needs somebody that's not scared to teach you and guide you and show you something different. One thing I know in today's society in the workplace, there is no really on-the-job training anymore. Here's your job. Go become successful. Make it happen. And those things of the past, it's not there. And I see that there's a big gap with information that people is not getting, or even the one-on-one training. And in today's time, it's needed more now than ever before. I thank you all for that. Anybody else before we shut it down?
I saw there were some questions in the chat. I didn't know if we were going to address some of them.
Well, you know what? On this right here that I'm on now, I can't see the chat. So if you can see it, ask it.
Oh, so Stacy had asked, what's one thing you do like your parents?
I will say, I have my Fabuloso, my mop, my vacuum cleaner. Early in the morning, I'm cleaning and vacuuming. Saturday morning, I have a new appreciation for that. It's my pastime. And I just recently got a carpet shampooer. Oh, It's over with.
Gernie?
I would say for me that daddy used to iron all the time and put creases in his pants. So I do iron my scrubs, and I do put creases in my scrubs. And my classmates do make fun of me for that, but I do iron my scrubs. So
Raymond, you want to go or you want me to go?
I can try. I can try to cook. I try to cook like how mommy does, sometimes like how daddy does. So yeah, I know that's try to be respectful. I try to be respectful like my parents. They're loving with their words. Yes, but yeah, I'll just leave it there.
And hey, Auntie Tori, she just said she's here. So love you.
Oh, hey. Well, I guess I'm last. So it's funny because of how we grew up and how I was pretty much on the lines of I'm not gonna parent like this, and I find myself parenting like daddy because so our dad used to take, like, if he wasn't satisfied with something, he used to just take it away. So back then we didn't have those flat screen TVs. We all had the one with the little television light bulb out the back that he'd take. So yeah, I find myself doing that quite a lot.
And can I just add, I can't see everybody, but my brother, he also cooks dinner for everybody as well. When I stayed out there in Colorado with him, he was cooking dinner for his family every night. That was pretty awesome to see too.
Was there any more questions, Gerald?
That was the only one that I saw that popped up on my screen.
Okay. Yeah, this thing is just going crazy over here. All right, if there's nothing else, y'all, we're gonna get up out of here. First of all, I want to say thank you all for participating. Thank you all for tuning in, and I do apologize for the Wi-Fi going in haywire on today, but nevertheless, man, I appreciate everybody doing what they was doing and just being a participant, and hope we can do this again without the bad Wi-Fi and everything, because we wasn't gonna let the devil have the victory. We was gonna make it do what it would do regardless, and we did that thing. So to each and every one of you that participated and joined in today, I want to once again say thank you. I am Dr. Woods. You would tune in with the R.A.W approach, and remember, small victories lead to greater success. I'll holler at you. Y'all take care. Peace out.
Is it over?
Wait. Do we need to exit?
I can't even see all y'all.
Yeah, I can just see like Gernie right now. Gernie, you're on mute. Oh wait, are we?
Gernie's about to be on some bloopers.
Wait. Wait. Are we not supposed to be talking?
No, I think it ended because I don't see it.
Wait, is it still live though? Because like the little wait.
Yeah, leave the studio, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'll just call y'all.
Okay.
Okay.